Procrastination continues to be one of the largest enemies of our productivity, and if we don't find effective ways to break this habit, it has the potential to completely derail our path towards success. In life, every single person wants to earn more money. They want to be more successful. They want to have a nicer home, nicer car, more money in the bank, and no financial worries. And the key to achieving these goals is to learn how to get more and better results. I know that you might be thinking, Brian, I've tried everything. I've set goals. I've created a time management schedule, but nothing seems to work for me. This brings me to our first strategy for overcoming chronic procrastination, and it's simply this: change your thinking. I've said this before over and over to millions of people around the world, because the truth is, if you change your thinking, you'll change your life. Here's a trick for pulling yourself away from the temptation to procrastinate. Just say the words, do it now, do it now, do it now. These magic words will motivate you and push you to get started. When you repeat these words often enough, the message will get pushed deep into your subconscious and act as a trigger for getting things done right away. If you spend all of your time thinking about how your habit of chronic procrastination gets in the way of all of your goals, motivation, and dreams, then your subconscious mind will accept that as the truth, and that's how your life will continue to be. If instead you spend your time thinking about how wonderful you are at getting difficult and important tasks done right away, and how incredibly organized you are with your time, then your subconscious mind will start to accept that as the truth, and you will start doing more of those things that overcome procrastination and get more things done faster. So that's the first critical step in not only changing your habit of procrastination, but also any habit in general. Change your thinking. The next strategy is from my best-selling book on time management, Eat That Frog. And it is this: if you have to eat more than one live frog, that's what I like to call a daunting project or task, a live frog, then you should eat the ugliest frog first, and you should do it right away without any delay. It doesn't do you any good to stare at the ugly live frog in front of you, this big task. If you simply resolve to take action and get it over with, your entire life will be uninhibited by the daunting tasks that once prevented you from moving forward. It's important to remember that you cannot manage time. Time exists completely out of our control. So you can't manage time. What you can do is to manage your life. Time management really is just life management. It is the management of the sequence of events in your life. It's the ability to choose what you do first, what you do second, and what you do later, if at all. And in this ability to choose lies your entire life. When you choose the most important thing, and you choose to do that first, and you choose to do that rather than anything else, you immediately put your life onto the fast track. In fact, you can actually double your productivity, performance, and output in one day simply by changing your order of choices in the way that you use your time. Now let's talk about the best way to use our time in order to move us closer to our goals. The way to do this is by developing a single-minded focus on the things you need to do that will have the most important and beneficial impact on your life right now. Whenever you're faced with a task, you must first ask yourself, what are the consequences of doing or not doing this? And if the consequences of not doing something are irrelevant, then don't do it.
Why is it that we often wait to experience pain before we decide to change a part of our lives, make a different choice, to create a shift? Why is it that we wait so often for stress and pressure?
I had that question was burning at me because, I was traveling around, had the privilege of this stage of life, traveling around the earth and working with people from every walk of life, right? 100 plus countries I've worked in. And I'd see the same problems, even though you'd be in different cultures. Like, go to an Asian culture, it's not about the individual, it's about the group, right? But I'd still see the same problems. And then I got obsessed with it, like, okay, what's the common human experience? Because I'm seeing the same problems, even though it's a different culture, even though it's different beliefs, right? And I began to realize that there are certain human needs, and there were 6 that I identified that I've used ever since, and it's helped me understand. And so one of those needs is certainty, and it's the base human need. Certainty that you can avoid pain and that you can be comfortable is the most basic need. It's a survival need, because if you have continuous pain, that's continuous damage equals death, right? But what happens for people is most people, that first basic need is where they live, they don't grow. Another need, the second need, is uncertainty. Because ironically, if you're certain all the time, you're bored out of your mind. If you're completely uncertain, you're kind of freaked out. And a balance is not it. It's the ability to use both, enter both worlds. And then there's the need for significance, which is a big part of our culture today, thanks to social media. That need to feel special, unique, important, right? It can be a very positive emotion or need. It can be very negative depending upon how it's used, how it's directed. And then there's the need for connection and love, which everybody has. And those 4 needs, everybody finds a way to meet. Even if you have to lie to yourself, work 20-hour days, you're gonna find certainty somehow. You're gonna find variety. You're gonna find some form of significance. Some people do it by tearing other people down. Some people do it by working harder. It's different. You're gonna find some level of at least connection, if not love. But the final 2 are what make people feel alive, which is growing. Everything in the universe grows or dies. And contributing. Everything in the universe contributes or it's eventually eliminated by evolution. So those are the spiritual needs, growth and contribution, where you get beyond yourself. And I think that the majority of us don't take moves because of fear, and fear is just uncertainty. It's that base need. And when I go around and I describe this in more detail, and I work with a big audience, 15, 20,000 people, and I'll say, have them do a set of exercises and have them figure out where do they get, what triggers them to be certain or uncertain, what triggers them to have variety and so forth. So they understand that like everything I do is to meet these needs. But then I get them to say, what are your top 2? Not what you think they should be, not what you want them to be, what are they? And 90% of the people in our culture are certainty and significance, or significance and certainty, even though they really want love. So they have this route, like if I can be successful enough, then I'll be worthy of it. Or if I can just control it enough and know it's that way, but you can't control love, right? And so most people they're trying to meet their needs in a kind of a backwards way. And I think that fear, that uncertainty is what keeps most people from growing until they get enough pain. And then that pushes them through a threshold where their needs aren't being met, they gotta change. And unfortunately, most people wait till they have enough pain. Now, that's not my preference. I'm sure it's not yours, but I'm sure you've had experiences as much as I've had where you did have to be pushed that far to get there, right?
Yeah, by the way, I'm so glad I asked you that question because that's the best answer I've ever heard to it. It's brilliant.
Very simple.
It's simple, but it's profound as well, because usually we would say, oh yeah, the reason why we wait till we don't have to change is because we're comfortable and we're okay with it. But really, it's because you're saying these needs keep us trapped almost.
In fact, if you're wanting to change but not changing, it's because some of your needs are met by what you're doing and some of them aren't. That's why you're in that push-pull, but you don't usually do enough until you're pushed over the edge.